Love and Pain, man. It's another episode. We have a very, very special guest on the couch with us today. Glad we were able to get together, man. We have Miss Rhonda Miller on the couch with us today. How you doing today?
Hello, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Glad we were able to finally get you on the couch. I'm very excited, to finally be, speaking with you. Like I told you a little bit off camera, people been mentioning your name for a couple of years now. After doing my research, knowing that you've been painting, for around a couple of years, 1 or 2 years, now, but I've been hearing it way before then. So it's just like, I'm really excited to get you on the couch and, let everybody know your story and stuff.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So let's get into it, man. So where you from? Where you grew up at?
I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey.
Okay.
But I grew up in Macon, Georgia, and I actually grew up in Camden, New Jersey. So I had the best of the both world. I was constantly back and forth.
Okay. Camden. So how was Camden growing up?
I love Camden. I grew up till I was like 7, but I just miss Atlanta City a little. Like going to see Atlanta City, going to the beach. I miss the taffy candy. But I miss my little friends, and I actually miss the one-way streets.
Okay.
Different one-way streets. And last, the food.
Food. That's what's up. That's South Jersey, for the people that don't know. I spent a little time up there in the DMV.
Okay.
Delaware,
Oh, Delaware, yes. The Swinging Bridge.
Yeah. I know a little bit about South Jersey and Camden. So, how was your household growing up? Was it like, both your parents growing up?
No, I actually, my mom was pregnant with me at age 17, and she was homeless on the street. And so I ended up in foster care at 13 months old.
Okay.
And so I stayed in foster care till I was 6, that one foster care. But my mom used to come and visit me sometimes. And I really didn't know that was my mom. I just knew a lady used to come and see me and stuff. But growing up was kind of hard.
Okay. So how was that in particular growing up? Experiencing that, the foster care system and stuff like that. That's actually something that I want to continue to advocate for. I just met somebody who has a nonprofit who donates to foster care homes because it's no longer funded by the state, right?
Yes. So I did stay in my foster care till I was 6 years old, and then I ended up being with my mom at 7. But unfortunately, my mom was sick. She died of cancer when I was 7. But when I went home to my mom, it was totally like traumatizing because I've been in the foster home for 6 years thinking that was my real mother. So when the cops came and the caseworker came to get me, I was screaming. I remember screaming, hollering, screaming for my foster mom. So it was really traumatic, really traumatized me just to see a mom that was in bed, my real mother, constantly in bed. So we just sat there all day. I have a little sister too, a younger sister than me, and we just sat there and watched her. But she died at 25, and she was 7. I was 7, and she was 25, from cancer.
So, talk about just growing up, being like the older sister, with all that going on.
I constantly seemed like I protected her because I got to know her. She was just 3 when I met her. And it was just more protection of her holding on to me with a finger in her mouth. I still remember her sucking her finger. But I was more protective of my sister. And that was all in New Jersey, in Camden.
Yeah. So, at age 7, you say you moved to Georgia, right?
After 7, my grandmother moved us here. My grandma had got custody of us, my mom's mother, and moved us here in Macon, Georgia. And my first school was Hartley on Anthony Road. And the bread store. Remember the bread store? We used to always stop by and get honey buns before we go. Well, you don't know, but I just know because I'm much older than you. But it was a big difference. I still yearn for my foster mom because before I went to Macon, Georgia, I kept running away. My foster mother used to come and sneak and get me out of school, and we just do all kind of stuff together. Then she dropped me back off, And I used to watch my foster mom. She used to go the same way home. And as soon as she dropped me off, I would leave and watch her go around the corner with her car. And mine usually had a Gran Torino. So green.
Yeah.
So but anyway, I watched. But so, before she could even get home sometimes, I'm on her front porch banging on the door. Open the door. And she was like, "No, Ron, you can't do this. You can't do this." So I think my grandmama just got tired of it because the cops would come and then it was chaos with my uncle and my foster mother. And my foster sister would be clashing because of me. And so anyway, we moved here to Georgia and stayed off of Mercer University. Wellsworth Avenue. You know where that is? It's right. Okay, well anyway, stayed with my grandma for a while. And it's still chaos, still traumatized. Just, I could still remember it like it was yesterday.
So, you're in Macon now. So, what was Macon like, back then, and what was some of those distinctive memories you have growing up?
I just felt like I was not a child. It was like I stepped into a grown adult. Because grandmother, don't want to talk bad about her, but she was not like a typical grandmother, what you would think if your child died and you take over the kids. She was never like that. She was never there. We was always there with my uncles.
What were some of those things?
When she disappeared, my uncles used to fight all the time. It was drugs and alcohol. I've never really shared that. But our uncles never harmed us, never, touched us any kind of way. But they was alcoholics and fighting and doing drugs. And sometimes orgies, I guess. We would just go upstairs at the time. But it's still trauma to me, thinking that children shouldn't see things or constantly sound violence in the house. And I would never thought brothers fight like that. But they do when it comes to stabbing and screaming and howling and drinking. I just grew up around a whole lot of alcoholics. And they were young too, And then it was so much fighting and stuff going on. Then my mom's first cousin got custody of us because it was a shooting in the house and I almost got shot. And so she went to court and got us it was my second cousin, but it was my mom's first cousin. And it was hell with her. It was very hell with her. First it was nice. But next thing she changed, and I don't have anything against God, but she would use God for everything. Like, I couldn't wear pants. I couldn't do children's stuff, activities, because all up was Satan. We went to church Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday. We stayed in church and she would make us get on our knees and tarry. She would wake up in the middle of the night and beat my sister. She would just whoop my sister for sucking her finger. And my little sister, she was 8. She didn't have nobody to really grasp to but me because mom passed. Grandmother wasn't a grandmother. And she just hold on to me. And so my cousin would wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and catch her sucking her finger and beat her. And so I used to watch this. So it's constantly had trauma, me watching her. And so I got tired of it. And I stayed in Pleasant Hill on Grant Avenue. So that's where I moved in Pleasant Hill. And I went to Miller. Central in the house. Good high school. I did get bullied a little bit in the 8th grade because I wore dresses. But it was just the guys always asked me why I wear dresses, But I didn't get bullied about anything else. It was just basically, they used to call me Holy Ghost. Or sometimes they shout in the hallway while I'm walking by. And I regretted that and I hated that and I had to come home with it. But anyway, I ran away. So that's the next question. I'm sorry. Okay. So we're at 13 now. We're at 13 now.
Okay. Well, I wanted to go back to the family part. What do you think was some of those things that kind of had, besides alcohol, that was definitely one of those factors. But what was another factor do you think that kind of had the family, kind of divided like that?
I think maybe I'm hearing they were all raised in foster care too. So I don't really know much about my grandmother's past. All I know, she was very beautiful, but I just don't know about her past. They just was all in foster homes themselves, so I can't really know much about her past because remember I was in foster care for a while. Just remember a lady getting us after our mom died, and I never saw her around while my mom was suffering. I never saw her around. Like, she just only started coming around when she was dying.
So how was it like, up until this point, going into high school and, essential, what was that when you started getting into arts? Or what were you doing?
No, I've never gotten into arts. Actually, I wasn't doing nothing but surviving as a child. After we lived with our cousin for a while, my grandmother had visitation rights, and so one day our grandmama just got us one weekend, and we had a flight to Delta Airlines and head back up to Camden. Oh. So she kidnapped us, our grandmother, and she just used us for a meal ticket. So I was back in Camden, back in high school. I didn't get picked up because I could be whoever I want to be, and that's when the starvation started. Like, not getting nothing to eat. We were hungry, me and my sister. My grandmama always stayed away. I think she was with men. And just left us there. And she was getting a check for us. I guess that's how some people are. They get money. And she got a check for us. So we were hungry. So I used to walk the streets. Used to ask for food, ask for money. People give us food, give me money. And I used to put it in like a little suitcase. Apples, oranges, little sandwich meat, just bread. I remember I was always eating bread with butter and sugar. And then sometime I remember having grits, and I used to add butter and sugar. So that's all we ate every day. So we were hungry. But the best part about me eating is when I went to school. So I would gather up everything for us to eat. So I would make sure I go to school every day. And sometimes I go school with flip and flap shoes because she didn't buy us clothes. And I didn't know what Christmas was. So I don't remember getting bullied in school for that. But I remember being called pee-pee girl because my sister used to pee on me. But I don't remember getting bullied in school. But so my cousin came way back to New Jersey, got us back. And that's when all hell broke loose. I started running away.
Did you come back down to Macon?
Yes, my cousin came back up there and got us. So we was kidnapped at age 11 to 8, and they couldn't do nothing jurisdiction with Georgia because we was always in New Jersey, so she had to come back and have court, and we had to go back again. So we went back, and that's when all the trauma and the beatings and the harmful. And that's when I encountered something else, the S word, at age 11. It was from a family member, and I started running away aged 11 or 12, 13, and I ended up in YDC in Central State for children because I stopped speaking. I never did art yet, so that was age 13 or 14. So after all that was over with me in foster care, and I've been in different foster homes, several, just in and out the doors, different ones. Then that's when I got 18. And then I got out and got my own place.
So when I'm listening, I kind of hear like a contrast between being back in New Jersey and coming back to the South. Did you kind of notice that growing up?
No.
Did you notice any difference? Was there any difference to you?
The difference was saying yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. It was like a problem when I got down here. I couldn't say yes or no, or I was disrespectful. Or if I go up north to Camden, I couldn't say yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, because they always say that was a Southern slavery word. So I think that's the only difficulty that I had about moving back and forth. Like, I was rude. They would say I was very rude when I come here and say yes and no. So.
Do you think it's like such thing as like a Southern mentality?
Yes, I'm hearing now that it's the respect, and I still kind of disagree with that. I think that word was given for us to say. It's not out of respect. It's like you use the word N-word. It kind of reminds me of the yes, no, and no, ma'am sometimes too.
Absolutely. So at 18, you get your own place. Like what comes next?
Mm-hmm. I got my own place and I had 3 kids.
Yeah.
Some sort of freedom, too much freedom. But I had 3 kids like in 3 years.
Okay.
And so for those years from 18 to about 27, 30 something, I raised my kids. I was a single parent. I worked several jobs from New Way, McDonald's, the mall. I was a mall queen. I love retail, selling clothes. They said I knew how to sell salt to a snail.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I worked several jobs and still no art. And I worked several jobs, and when the kids grew up, that's when I started having that nasty, like by myself. And then I started getting depressed. And then that's when I didn't want to go because I kept seeing the past reflect. Just finally, when I slowed down, it was like the past knocked on my little arm and said, "Hey, you forgot about me." Because I took a deep breath as I raised the kids and I was working there, and life was amazing. Life was amazing to me. And I took a deep breath. And as soon as I took that deep breath, that's when I just noticed the past. When I went to a speaking engagement and it just popped up like it just came up like throw up things that happened to me. Like that S word that happened to me, I never thought about it. It just happened. And I still don't remember all the details. I just know how it started. And it came up and I just wanted to die because I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. Like, I let this happen to me, I felt so nasty and not worth it anymore. So I wanted to die because it was like a family thing. And I actually wanted to die. So I started painting. That's when I started painting. I started going to therapy first. And therapy was art on a journal. And then I started painting. And then it was too big for the journal. And then I started doing canvas. And there I was. Rhonda Sunshine was born.
Where does the sunshine come from?
My uncle used to call me Sunshine. He used to call me Sunny. Rest in peace, my Uncle KK. He used to call me Pooh, Sunny Pooh. And then I met a guy a couple years ago, 5 years ago. He was a singer. He passed away, rest in peace. But he used to say, you're just a sunshine, bolt of sunshine. So that's where sunshine came from.
Okay. Okay. So after getting into creating art, like when was the first time that you really noticed that you had something special with what you was creating?
When I was in therapy and I showed my therapist, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is nice. How long you been painting?" And I said, "Last week." Yeah. Last week. And she said it was so deep because I put that S word in there. That happened. I draw like a vagina. And I had barbed wires on there. And I said, just say no. And then the other piece was on my back. I had everything that I was wearing on my back, that cover that no one knew. But they saw that smile. But I still had flowers. I still had flowers like that. But I had red wets all on my back. Because that's what our cousin used to beat us, whoop us. Like, if we drank the last Kool-Aid or we dropped something. I never got a really bad beating. My sister got a really bad beating by putting a headscarf. Well, actually, I put the headscarf on the doll. But my sister took the blame, and my cousin beat her so bad and threw her outside in the snow. In Georgia, it actually snowed some. Maybe not a lot, but it was snow, and she stood out there in the snow forever. And she finally made it back in. But the PTSD helps me when I paint, when I think about the past. That's when I grab the canvas and write it.
You want to show some of your art?
Yes.
Yeah, you can.
With my art, I started just doing art, and that's when I met Rick Geyer. My friend Heidi was like, "Hey, they got this big show going on at Triangle. Why don't you apply for it?" And I was like, "Okay." So I went down there with a piece of art, and Rick Geyer was like, "Oh my God, who did this?" I said, "I did." And he was like, "That's a masterpiece." And I looked, and I'm like, plenty of times I was rejected from my art because people didn't know what it was when they saw it. It was like, ew, you can't paint. They wanted me to do this masterpiece, and I just couldn't do it. I only did it for how I felt. When I first started doing painting, it wasn't about buying my art or doing it for people to buy it. I only did it to reflect my feelings. It was never meant to sell. So that's why I didn't want it to look amazing. I wanted to look what came out of my mind, but I couldn't express it because the word shame, because of the word as the letter. But I started doing art and people started looking at it. And when I caught them looking at it, every time I was artist, they would look at it and actually grab their chest. They would be crying in tears and they'd be like, oh my God, this is me. And that's when I knew that I had a gift of helping others. What made me help myself, what made me help others. And that's why I paint. I paint for me, but I also paint. I actually paint for me, but I show what I feel and I find lines for others. So it truly inspires everybody. And so I was part of Macon 200. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
The mall. And I had so many left because of COVID. So I was at home, stuck at home at COVID. And I worked for Macon Housing Authority, so I start painting there. But after the Macon 200, I applied for Macon 200, the artists that the calendar that Macon 200 had, and it's all about Macon. And mine, I was chosen, but mine was like, who is the villain and who is the heroes? So I thought the heroes would have been, I lost my track, but the heroes was Ellen Craft. And so I thought I did a hero of Ellen Craft, and then I used the other lady, Anjet Giles, and people love it. Yes. So I did this one, but I never knew that, guess what? It made front cover. And that's when I knew my art was okay. I knew that people like my art if I made the cover in Macon Magazine. Shout out to Macon Magazine, by the way, too. Thank y'all.
Shout out to Macon Magazine.
Susanna! And Julia.
How does that make you feel everything to kind of come full circle for you to be able to use your pain to be able to express to others and make them relate to something that they never been through and only you personally been through?
It makes me feel good to know that I am not alone. A lot of people inbox me and they was like, oh my God, you have the guts and the bravery. Thank you. You know, they'll say that to me. Thank you. So I'm here to inspire others. I don't want to, but I see what happens to help people. So I'll keep painting the way I want to paint. I'm not going to paint the way you want me to.
Right.
And people like it. It's my pain. I turn my pain into positivity. And my positivity helps other people. And they buy my pain. So that's what I call my little thing called Buy My Pain. Y'all come buy my pain. So you'll get it.
Come buy the pain.
Buy the pain.
How would you describe your art like for the people who never seen it? I remember, I think it was last week. It was your last week in the Macon Art Center, and you had your exhibit up. We was in there checking out all the different pieces, and it was different things that I noticed about your art that's distinctive. It's the eyes, it's the lips, different dark aesthetics and stuff like that. So I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's the different moves and things that you're expressing in the pieces? What does those things symbolize, and why does it make it in every piece? It's bigger lips and stuff like that. Is it like, I got my own interpretation of what I thought it meant, but I wanted to ask you.
Okay. Well, the eyes is for people to see. They see me. And then my daughter always say, Mom, you got big old eyes. So, I do have big eyes. But basically the eyes are for people to see and the lips are to speak without hearing, but you can see it. The eyes that you see when I'm speaking. So that's the reason why I always have my big eyes and my big lips, because you see what I'm trying to say. Actually, I'm a folk expressive artist. I love mixed media. I like adding stuff. I might find something that means a meaning, like a locket means my heart is locket. I find pieces of paper plates because sometimes I'm torn, but I'm always put together. But my favorite people that always ask me is puzzle pieces. My puzzle pieces are more like sometimes in the box. Not all the puzzle pieces are in the box, but you still see a clear picture. And that's what my puzzle piece is about. But basically, you see rips of paper. It's just all about, no matter how your life may tear you up, wear you out, or whatever, you can still be together. Sometimes I have buttons represent together. So basically, it have like mental illness, like, and I suffer from depression a lot and anxiety, but in PTSD because my past, there all this was that I seen, and so actually I just express all my paintings how I feel, and they all different sometimes, they all different. So basically, you'll see expressive art, and it's not perfect. I always call it artificial surrealism. It's artificial because it came out of my mind. I didn't look at it. I didn't copy it. Whatever came out of my mind, that's what's in there.
Most definitely. Talk about being a breast cancer survivor.
I laugh because I can't believe that I went through that. And I think all the time that I wanted to murder myself. I think of all the times that I wanted to die, that I wanted to take my life. I found myself fighting. I found myself wanting to live, fighting to live. And I keep thinking maybe it was just a shocking, like it was when they told me, I was like, okay. And later on the day I went party. It didn't hit me till after all this over with. That it actually hit me that I could have died. Chemo, I'm probably not allowed to say, but chemo was not nice. Chemo was the devil. Chemo was really bad. I had about 8 months of chemo. Maybe about 2 months of radiation. But I lost all my hair. And I lost other things. And I remember one time I just looked at the mirror at myself. It felt like I lost all my female. Like I was no longer a female because I looked at my face and my hair and other things. And I'm like, who am I? But what kept me going was painting. Between the time that when I wasn't sick anymore, after you be so sick, I get up and I still get my paintbrush and I still paint it. I still did it because I did not want breast cancer to win. Even if I had to die and the chemo was not going to work, I would have painted to my last breath. I would have painted to my last breath. And one day after my last time I fixed everything, I looked at myself and I said, you know what? I'm still alive. I'm still a woman. I'm still a woman. My hair did grow back. And they get all that other stuff now. So I'm good, But yeah, chemo taught me to live.
That's deep. What does beauty mean to you?
Beauty used to mean to me the girls that I used to see on internet. I used to think they was really beautiful. But beautiful to me means something that comes in within. Beauty means to me is loving who you are. Beauty is to me loving your flaws. Not everyone is perfect. Even the girls that you see, they're not perfect. So beauty to me is the inside of loving who you are and loving your flaws.
Most definitely.
Being kind to others as well and giving.
What's been your favorite exhibit so far of yours? One that you've been to, or what's some of your favorite artists that you've seen that you grab inspiration from?
My favorite exhibit actually is the last one. I don't know. I really don't have a favorite because it seems like everybody loves it. But
Man, it was definitely dope.
I like when they put the yellow brick down. It was a meaning to me. The yellow brick road, and I used the Wizard of Oz because it was like how Dorothy had to go through to go to the wizard, So that was my life of me going through the scarecrow because I was scared and to express myself, going to the Tin Man because I had to learn to love myself and get my heart back, and then Lion being strong and brave and not afraid to express myself. And hey, so I used that, and the wizard was the Wizard of Oz. The Oz was the gallery. It was a girl that was afraid to show her art. But before she can show her art, she had to love herself and not be scared and be brave. And that's why I used the Wizard of Oz for it.
What made you want to go back to school and get your GED and eventually?
I got my GED because a doctor told me when I had my third baby, was I married, was this and that, and I was like, and she didn't call me trifling, and she just said, you're gonna live a trifling life. You're a beautiful woman. You got all these kids. You don't need to have, And so I went back and at least got my GED. I got it for her at first, but when I started going in there, and I realized the GED wasn't for her; it was for me. So I got my GED in 1992 while I had my little girl with me. 1992. People think I just got my GED. No, I just got my GED in 92. 30-something years ago.
Well, what do you have coming 2024?
I have some few art shows coming. I got to get them together. They've been writing me. People been asking, and actually, hopefully, I'll have an exhibit in the Macon Museum in December of 2024 in Charlotte, North Carolina. I hope I'll be working some things in Charlotte. I have something in Savannah. I have something in Americas, Athens. I have some stuff going on for 2024. You asked me a question that I had forgot. One of my favorite artists. And it came to my head, then I lost it. But you would thought it would be Picasso, but it's not. Because I didn't know who he was. The reason why I had two faces on my art, it wasn't nothing about Picasso. It was how I had my ups and my downs. You'll see a sad face, you'll see a smiling face, because that's how I felt. So I never knew nothing about Picasso until somebody kept calling me Picasso. So I was researching, and I love his story, but I didn't get it from Picasso. I got it from me. But my favorite one is Thomas Bacon? I think it is, because he draw how he felt, and he dealt with mental illness. And I often ask myself, every artist that paint, do we really have a mental illness? I ask myself that.
That's a good question. I think the same thing. I also advocate for mental health. It's definitely one of those things that has a lot of correlation to a lot of different things, and a lot of people deal with it, but they try not to deal with it in public, so to speak. It's kind of brushed up under the rug and stuff like that. How's your mental health, and how has it come along, over the years and stuff?
Well, at first, my mental health, like I said before, I didn't want to live anymore. But my mental health is amazing right now. If I stay painting, if I stay away from negative things, if I just continue to stay positive and keep away from toxic people, toxic things, toxic thoughts, it helps me. And you really don't have to have a mental illness to even the examples I just gave you, but with my mental health, I paint, I meditate, I gravitate for people that is positive right now.
Right. For the young women that's watching, what advice would you give to them to just overcome the adversity? A lot of people don't have a voice. It took you years to get your voice, and now everything is turning in your favor. How would you what advice would you give to that young woman?
The advice I would give to young women is trust your gut. Sometimes we trust our heart to things, and our heart is so kind sometimes, or so loving. You can't trust your heart. You have to trust your gut. I say that sometimes because your gut really tells the truth. But keep your head up no matter what may come your way. What helped me survive during the time of me being a single mother was my children. You have to put them first. You have to look in their eyes because they need you. And that's what helped me. So if you have children, think about your kids. Don't think about anybody else, but trust God. Think about your kids. Be strong. And basically, if you love yourself, number one is just loving yourself and having some sort of esteem. And if you don't have someone to talk to, seek therapy, a trust friend, but mostly trust your gut, to me, and stay away from things that's toxic. Remember, if you have children, you have to protect your kids. So anything that's out of the way of your kids. Reason why I bring up the kids, because most of the young women that I reach out to, they have children and they put so many people in front of them. And me, as growing up, everything was thrown in front of us. And it can do a lot to your child.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. Let the people know where they can, tap in with you, go get pieces, go check your art out. What can people go follow you at?
You can follow me at Rhonda Sunshine Miller on Facebook, also Rhonda Sunshine Miller on Instagram. But the one that I really on a lot is Folk with Sunshine. And it means FOLK, folk, with Sunshine on Instagram.
Most definitely. Let's see, anything else?
I have some stuff coming up, so if you stay on there and follow me, then I will be putting stuff. What's next? What's coming up next? Everything like yeah. I was so relaxed. I wasn't even nervous. I wear this hat because I'm a painter.
Hey. 478 TV, 47 Loving.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate you coming through though. For real, it was a good time. I think it's gonna be a dope one. Something everybody can learn from, get something from, and take with them like your art pieces.
Yeah, please get my art pieces. I need to pay bills.
Oh,
Thank you.
Next time.
Bye.